Okay, picture this. Kampala, Uganda. It's humid, the streets are buzzing, motorbikes, vendors, just that constant energy.
Yeah, you can almost feel it.
And inside some small cyber cafe, there's a young guy, probably sweating a bit, focused on a computer screen.
Right, now jump halfway across the world. San Francisco. Sleek boardroom, polished table.
Totally different vibe. And there's another young African man, maybe his stomach's in knots, facing these, venture capitalists.
Exactly. Two very different scenes, two young men. But they're linked by this huge ambition.
To basically flip the script on how money moves across Africa.
It's more than just fintech, though. It's a story about where they came from, what drove them, and how they chose completely different ways to tackle the same problem.
We're talking about Stone Atwine of Eversend, who really built his company from the ground up, starting from like a Ugandan farm background.
And then Serunjogi of Chipper Cash. He had this impressive Silicon Valley career track, but then pivoted back towards Africa.
And their approaches couldn't be more different, could they? You've got VC money versus crowdfunding.
Blitz scaling, grow fast, break things versus careful, bootstrapped growth.
Offering free transactions to get users versus building a sustainable model from day one, all for this massive goal of financial inclusion in Africa.
So for our deep dive today, we really want to unpack this battle. But to do that, you first have to understand the founders themselves, what shaped them.
Yeah, where did this drive come from? We need to rewind a bit.
It's pretty amazing how personal the roots of these companies are. Let's start with Serunjogi. His story begins in rural Kayebe, Uganda.
Right. Not a big city background.
No, middle child, close family. His parents were entrepreneurs, apparently never held regular jobs, so he saw that self-reliance, that hustle from day one.
And he was also a swimmer, like a serious swimmer.
Oh, yeah. Started at age 6, got incredibly good, broke national records, even represented Uganda at the Youth Olympics when he was just 17.
Wow. That kind of discipline at that age.
Exactly. He talked about hating the early mornings, missing parties, but realizing later that it taught him discipline, delayed gratification. Put in the work, get results.
His father coached him too, right? Drove him around.
Yeah, instilled that relentless work ethic. You can really see how that background, competitive, goal-driven, embracing challenges shaped his leadership style later on.
And it wasn't just the discipline. He actually saw the problem firsthand.
He did. He mentioned watching his own father struggle with what Ham called a complicated banking system to try and move money around Africa back around 2010.
Ah, okay. So the inefficiency, the frustration, that planted a seed.
It stuck with him. Meanwhile, maybe 200 miles away in western Uganda, Stone Atwine's upbringing was setting him on a parallel yet different path.
Mbara, right? A smaller town.
Slower pace, yeah, but still plenty of challenges. His father was a doctor working in a refugee camp.
And Stone actually visited the camp.
He did. He saw the hardship, the marginalization, people waiting in long lines, families who'd lost everything. That experience really hit him.
So for Stone, it wasn't just about market inefficiency. It was more human, more about empathy.
Absolutely. It sparked this desire to help people, this passion for financial inclusion. He was bright, good with tech, studied computer science locally at Mbara University.
So unlike Ham, who eventually went abroad, Stone's education was right there in Uganda.
Grounded him in those local market realities. And then he started working across East and Southern Africa, implementing software for banks, for businesses. He saw the financial gaps everywhere.
And one of those gaps became intensely personal for him. Sending money home?
Yeah, to his grandmother. She was raising 8 grandkids on a farm. Stone said sending money through Western Union cost him like 15–20% each time.
15 to 20%. That's huge.
Insane, right? And he said it wasn't just the cost. My grandma had to leave the kids, take a 1-hour bus to town to pick up cash, then carry it back on a crowded bus. It was risky and exhausting.
Wow. You can just feel the frustration in that. It's not just inconvenient, it's unsafe.
Totally. And that led Stone to ask that crucial question. Why couldn't he just send money directly to her mobile money account, like MTN Mobile Money, from wherever he was working abroad?
That simple question. There has to be a better way.
That's the core of it. And that question, born from his own experience, is what eventually led to Eversend.
But Eversend wasn't his first venture, was it? He experimented before that.
Right. He had Yetu Credit, doing microfinance with basic phones, and UserMit, an early remittance platform. They were, smaller scale, but he was learning.
Always focused on financial inclusion, bringing services to people left out by the traditional system.
Exactly. He'd trace it back to his grandmother, to those refugees. It was deeply embedded.
So you got these two young Ugandans, mid-2010s. One is dreaming big, looking towards Silicon Valley.
And the other is deeply rooted in African markets, solving problems he sees every day. Both carrying the kernel of an idea sparked by personal frustration with Africa's financial plumbing.
They don't know each other yet, but you can almost feel the collision course forming.
Yeah, fate's getting ready. But first, they each had their own journeys to navigate education, early careers. Ham got a scholarship to Grinnell College in Iowa.
2012. Studied economics and computer science. A good combo for fintech.
And critically, at Grinnell, he met Majid Mujalid, Ghanaian guy, computer science major. Ham calls that friendship one of the most impactful of his life.
Majid, his co-founder at Chipper.
The very same. Ham even said without Majid, there would be no Chipper. He saw him as a huge influence.
So they started brainstorming early, tackling African problems.
Yeah, late nights, lots of ideas. They tried a logistics app flop. A voice messaging app died a natural death, as Ham put it, laughing about it later.
Okay. So failure was part of the process.
Totally. Ham said, we messed up a number of ideas, but we were learning what mistakes not to make. We really embraced that American ethos of try and fail without fear.
That's a key Silicon Valley mindset, isn't it? Fail fast, learn.
Definitely. So when Ham graduated in 2016, they made a pact to build something real together. But Ham needed some big league experience first.
And he aimed high. Cold emailing Sheryl Sandberg. That takes guts.
Right. And incredibly, she replied the next day.
No way. That's amazing.
Led to an internship at Facebook in New York in 2015. He did well, got a full-time offer, but then the visa lottery.
The H-1B hurdle. So common.
Yep, his number didn't come up. But Facebook offered him a spot in their Dublin office, their international HQ.
So he spent time in Ireland.
2 really valuable years managing partnerships. But that pact with Majid was always there. They worried about getting too comfortable in corporate life.
The golden handcuffs.
Pretty much. So late 2017, Ham's just 24. He quits Facebook, takes his savings, and decides it's time. Time to build Chipper.
Meanwhile, back in East Africa, Stone Atwine is also reaching a decision point. Different path, though.
Totally different. By 2017, Stone had like a decade of real-world experience. He'd seen the problem from every angle: user, bank, tech side. He was ready to go all in on his own thing.
Building on Yetu Credit and Usermid, now it was time for the main event, Eversend.
And his vision was huge from the start. Not just remittances. He called it a financial services marketplace, or octopus.
An octopus, okay, explain that.
Yeah, meaning multiple arms reaching into different services, currency exchange, bill payments, insurance, virtual cards, maybe even lending down the line. An all-in-one financial hub.
Super ambitious.
Yeah.
But driven by that mission to use business for good.
Deeply. And he knew he couldn't do it alone. Early 2018, he connected with Emma Smith, an American expat with a finance background who shared his passion for social impact.
She became co-founder and COO.
Yep. Stone described their dynamic well. I'm driven and strategic. She's organized and high energy. We feed off each other. They brought on a tech lead, Ronald Kazindwa, built a small team in Kampala.
So 2018 is the year. Chipper Cash launches, founded by Ham and Majid in San Francisco.
And Eversend launches, founded by Stone and Emma in Kampala. Same goal, fix cross-border payments in Africa, but starting from completely different worlds, with totally different resources and strategies.
Okay, let's paint the picture for Chipper's early days. San Francisco, 2018. It wasn't glamorous, was it?
Not at all. Ham sleeping on an air mattress in a hallway. Majid coding constantly. Their apartment was the office.
Living on savings. How much runway did they have?
About $60,000, Ham said. Which sounds like a lot, but in SF, that's maybe a few months, tops. They were eating cheap Indian curry, no meat, just gravy, apparently saving every penny to the company.
Wow. Intense pressure. Ham's job was basically fundraising.
Primarily. Majid was the phenomenal engineer. Ham focused on getting investors on board. But Silicon Valley wasn't biting initially.
Why not? What were the objections?
A mix of things. Cross-border payments in Africa, isn't that M-Pesa's turf? Or how big is that market, really? Some just didn't understand the scale of the problem or the opportunity.
And ironically, African investors were sometimes tougher.
Yeah, Ham mentioned some calling him a naive kid. Rejection after rejection. He started to doubt himself. Big time.
And then the money almost ran out.
Hit rock bottom. Majid texted him basically saying, we can't make rent next month. Ham admitted feeling like he'd failed everyone, his parents, Majid himself.
That must have been crushing. What turned it around?
Majid gave him this crucial pep talk right there in the apartment. Something like, look, Ham, this problem is real. Someone has to solve it. Why not us? We knew it would be hard. Remember why we started.
The co-founder relationship, so critical in those moments.
Absolutely vital. That belief, the shared purpose, it got them through. They doubled down.
And finally, a break.
And finally, after over 100 pitches, one VC firm, likely 500 startups, got it. They invested $150,000 in mid-2018.
A lifeline.
Huge validation, enough to launch their app in Uganda and Ghana. And the key, instant, no-fee, peer-to-peer transfers.
No fees. That must have been revolutionary.
Completely. For people used to losing 10%, 15% on transfers, this was mind-blowing. Send money like a text. Costs nothing if you're both on Chipper. Market rates for currency conversion. It just took off. Went viral.
Okay, now shift scenes. Berlin, Germany, 2019. Techstars demo day. Stone Atwine and Emma Smith are on stage.
Right. Pitching Eversend to European investors. Their Android app had just launched. They had some early traction.
What was Stone's pitch? How did it differ from the Chipper approach?
It was broader from the start. He said, we are not just a money transfer company. Eversend is building the Amazon of financial services for Africa, a one-stop, borderless wallet. He listed currency exchange, bill pay, insurance, the whole package.
The octopus's vision.
Exactly. And he hit them with the personal story, too. For years, I sent money home to my grandmother and paid 15–20% fees. With Eversend, I can now send her money instantly, with just a tiny fraction of that cost. He framed it around inclusion for the 1.7 billion unbanked adults globally.
Powerful. And they started getting recognition around then.
Yeah, 2019 was good for visibility. Emma made Forbes 30 under 30. They got into other programs. But crucially, they didn't raise a big VC seed round like Chipper.
So how did they fund themselves initially?
Bootstrapping, accelerator stipends, keeping things incredibly lean, building out that feature-rich app, the multi-currency wallets, the bill pay focusing on the product, not just P2P transfers, more like a neobank.
And then the crowdfunding. That was a bold move.
Very bold. Mid-2020, VCs weren't quite getting it or moving fast enough, so Stone took it directly to the people who would use the service. Launched on seeders, aiming for $550,000.
How'd it go?
Blew past the target. Nearly 1,000 people invested almost $900,000, valuing the company around $7.4 million. Stone basically said, VCs weren't biting, so we asked our community, and they stepped up.
That's incredible. Talk about validation from your actual market.
It really reinforced their community-driven approach. So you see these two very different paths emerge early on. Chipper chasing VCs in the valley, Eversend building lean and turning to its users for funding, both needing incredible resilience.
Let's go back to Chipper's funding journey. That initial $150K was just the start, right? Things accelerated quickly.
Oh, absolutely. Silicon Valley woke up. Late 2019, they raised a $2.4 million seed round. Then 2020 hit. The pandemic actually boosted digital payments in Africa.
Chipper's timing was perfect, in a way.
Couldn't have been better. User numbers exploded into the millions, and the big VCs noticed. June 2020, $30 million Series B led by Ribbit Capital. And guess who else joined that round?
Who?
Jeff Bezos. His personal fund, Bezos Expeditions.
Wow, the Amazon guy. That's a massive stamp of approval.
Huge credibility boost, and the money kept rolling in. Mid-2021, a $100 million Series C, then a $150 million extension later that year, led by FTX.
FTX, okay, we'll come back to that. But by end of 2021.
In for $305 million raised in total. A valuation north of $2 billion. Chipper Cash was officially a unicorn, one of Africa's first. Ham was still in his late 20s. Incredible rise.
From an air mattress to a multi-billion-dollar valuation in like 3 years. Astounding. How was Eversend doing comparatively during this boom time?
Steady progress, but a totally different scale. By 2021, they were operating in multiple countries, letting users hold and send various currencies, shillings, naira, dollars, euros, added virtual cards, crypto exchange features.
Building out that octopus.
Exactly, growing their user base organically. By mid-2023, they reported hitting 500,000 registered users. Now, that's way less than Chipper's millions, but Stone emphasized they did it with only about $1.2 million raised in total up to that point.
500,000 users on just over $1 million. That's incredibly capital efficient.
That was Stone's whole philosophy. Proof that you could build traction without burning hundreds of millions in VC cash.
So the contrast just gets sharper. Chipper, the VC-backed rocket ship, Eversend, the lean, feature-rich community-funded player. The stage was set for a real clash of strategies.
Absolutely. Chipper's expansion, fueled by that VC money, was aggressive. By 2021, they were in 7 African countries.
Uganda, Ghana, Kenya, Nigeria, the big ones.
Right. And then they look beyond Africa, launched in the UK, then the US, later in 2021. Why?
Remittance is right. The diaspora is sending money home.
Exactly. That US to Africa corridor alone is massive, over $48 billion a year. Ham claimed Chipper was offering those remittances way cheaper than anyone else, and crucially, making it two-way Africa to US too.
Stone and Eversend, meanwhile,
Are methodical.
much more. Focused initially on the African diaspora in Europe, sending money back. By 2023, they covered transfers from Europe to 8 African countries. They entered places like Nigeria quietly, focusing on getting compliance right, understanding local nuances first.
And Stone wasn't shy about criticizing the blitzscaling approach, was he, on Twitter?
No, he definitely threw some shade, maybe indirectly. He tweeted something like, "The African market behaves differently. It's very different from the blitzscaling style of Silicon Valley. You'll lose your shirt and still have nothing at the end."
Ouch. A direct shot at the free money model.
Pretty clearly. Chipper's zero fees and bonuses were classic VC-subsidized growth hacking. Stone argued that attracts users, sure, but doesn't build loyalty.
His point was, if you start free and then start charging, users feel cheated. Yeah. He said Eversend did the opposite. Started with fair pricing, then lowered it whenever they found cost savings. Building trust, he argued. They know if we can make it cheaper, we will.
So Eversend charged from the start for external transfers.
Yeah.
Small fees or exchange margins.
Correct. Internal Eversend to Eversend was free, but anything else generated revenue from day one. Stone was obsessed with unit economics.
While Chipper was free first, monetized later, though they did start adding revenue streams.
Had to. Chipper checkout for businesses, crypto trading, even fractional stocks after getting a U.S. license. Partnered with Visa for cards. Trying to become that all-in-one platform, too, like a Pan-African Venmo plus Robinhood plus PayPal.
But adding things like crypto brought regulatory headaches, didn't it?
Sometimes. Nigeria's central bank cracked down on banks facilitating crypto in 2021, which affected fintechs in that space. Ham had to navigate that, hire compliance experts, engage regulators constantly.
But Eversend faced hurdles, too, though, getting licenses.
Oh, yeah. Multiple central bank approvals needed for every corridor. Mobile money taxes in Uganda, complex integrations in Nigeria. It slowed things down, but Stone seemed willing to be patient.
So by 2021, 2022, users in key markets had a real choice. Speed and free with Chipper, or the feature-packed wallet with small fees from Eversend.
Exactly. And the founders were definitely aware of each other. The rivalry was palpable, even if polite publicly. They shared a stage at the Africa FinTech Summit in 2021.
What was the tone?
Diplomatic. Ham said something like, "We're both trying to solve similar problems. Chipper's focus is accessible, no fee payments, connect everyone."
And Stone.
Confident in his niche. Eversend's focus is comprehensive solutions. Customers want a financial home that's borderless. There's room for different approaches. Africa is not one market.
The classic tortoise versus hare debate, almost. Blitz scaling versus sustainability.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And that tension highlights a fundamental strategic choice, especially in complex emerging markets. There's no single right answer.
But then the market dynamic shifted. The fintech winter arrived.
Yeah, 2022. The easy money dried up globally. Tech valuations plummeted. For Chipper, which had hired hundreds of people and was geared for hypergrowth, this was a major shock.
Pressure to cut costs must have been immense.
Intense. And then the bombshell. FTX collapsed in November 2022.
FTX, who had led their last big funding round.
The very same, $150 million investment. Suddenly, not only was a key investor gone, but their involvement cast a shadow, raising questions about Chipper's own valuation and stability.
That must have been Ham's toughest leadership test.
Absolutely. The game changed overnight. Forget growth at all costs. The new mandate was survival, efficiency, path to profitability.
Which meant layoffs.
Sadly, yes. Multiple rounds starting December 2022 through 2023. The team size, once near 400, was cut significantly. Even the COO left.
How do you manage that pivot, going from unicorn celebration to painful tuts?
It required incredible resolve from Ham. Reports suggest he cut non-essential projects, doubled down on profitable corridors, pushed revenue-generating products harder, strengthened compliance.
So Chipper had to fundamentally retool itself.
Exactly. They emerged leaner, more focused, Probably not worth $2 billion on paper anymore, but arguably healthier for the long run. It's a stark lesson in adaptability. That blitzscaling model is vulnerable to market shocks.
How did Stone and Eversend weather this period?
Stone probably watched with a mix of empathy and, let's be honest, some validation for his lean approach. Eversend wasn't immune to challenges, but with only about 25 employees and revenue from the start, it wasn't an existential crisis.
In fact, they reported growth during that time.
Surprisingly, yes. Stone mentioned transaction volumes grew dramatically, like 46-fold in the year leading up to mid-2022, hitting $232 million annually.
How? By finding new niches.
It seems so. They apparently found traction with business users, crypto traders needing reliable cross-border rails, proving their product had value beyond just personal remittances.
Still, running lean with fast growth has its own strains, right?
For sure. Tech infrastructure, customer support, it stretches a small team. Stone was likely working insane hours. Licensing delays could still stall expansion, but his focus on maniacal unit economics, as he tweeted, kept them resilient.
Refusing to spend on growth unless it paid back.
That was his mantra. He talked about running lean. One main office, small co-working spots elsewhere. We spend only where it's needed. The contrast again. Chipper peaking at hundreds of staff, Eversend at maybe 24.
Despite the rivalry, though, their combined efforts did push the whole sector forward in Africa, didn't they?
Undeniably. They both helped normalize fintech solutions for cross-border payments. Every hurdle they cleared, every milestone they hit, proved to regulators and other investors that African founders could build scalable solutions for African problems. They raised the bar.
So fast forward to today, maybe 2025.
Yeah.
What are their legacies shaping up to be?
Well, Chipper Cash is definitely a household name in many key African markets. It achieved massive scale, made fee-free transfers the expectation for millions. Ham's journey itself, Ugandan swimmer to Facebook to unicorn CEO, is inspirational.
He proved African startups could play on the world stage, attract global capital.
Absolutely. Though he also learned hard lessons about managing through downturns, shifting from hypergrowth CEO to a steward focused on longevity. As he said, the goal is for Chipper to outlive us.
And Eversend. Maybe less famous globally, but what's its legacy?
Among its user base, reportedly over 500,000 now, it seems deeply valued. Seen as reliable, feature-rich, that true financial companion. Stone's legacy is tied to that principled, efficient, community-focused approach.
Never losing sight of the mission for the unbanked, sticking to his guns on sustainable growth.
Exactly. His quote resonates. Though free money can win the moment, trust and value win the decade. It's about building something lasting, not just big.
So, two leaders, two very different styles. Ham, the master of the big vision, the VC pitch, rapid scale, navigating hype and crisis.
And Stone, the master of efficiency, maximizing impact with limited resources, staying laser-focused on the mission and unit economics.
But ultimately, both made a huge difference. Millions of Africans, grandmothers, students, traders, have better, cheaper, faster ways to manage their money because of the paths these two Ugandans forged.
It really raises a fascinating question for anyone thinking about building a business, especially you listening right now. What's the real goal? Is it about being the biggest, fastest? Or is it about being the most resilient, the most sustainable?
Particularly when you're serving a market with such profound needs, what does success actually look like? And how does that answer shape your own strategy? It's something to think about.
Definitely food for thought.
Now, before we wrap up, just a quick standard disclaimer.
Yeah.
While we've done our best to piece together this story accurately, we're working off publicly available information, news reports, company statements, interviews. We can't know every detail behind closed doors. This is our narrative based on what's been shared.
Absolutely. The full picture is always complex. But hopefully, this deep dive gives you real insight into these two incredible journeys and the ongoing evolution of African fintech. It's a space that's constantly changing.
Definitely. Keep exploring, keep learning. There are so many more stories like this out there.
You've been listening to Empire and Legacy, African Business Chronicles. Main episodes are released each Monday. Our hosts delve deeper into the CEOs at the helm on Wednesdays. On Thursdays, we explore the global perspectives, the standout businesses and CEOs, emerging trends, and geopolitical developments, presenting both risk and opportunity. We're back each week, sharing more stories about the exciting business rivalries shaping the future of business across Africa. Empire and Legacy is essential listening for business professionals and leaders. Be sure to subscribe to be the first to know when new episodes are released. Until next time, stay tuned.